Hey guys, my name is Kyle, and you're watching America's Finest Political Talk Show. So today's video is a little bit different, because right as soon as I'm done recording, I'm going to get in my car and drive to the administrative head building of my school district. You're probably asking yourself, Kyle, why are you going to the administrative head building of your school district? It's summertime, are you crazy? And the answer to that is because I want to get on the speakers list for an upcoming school board meeting. What I want to do is get on this school board meeting and I want to ask them a few questions about cell phones. As most of you know, cell phone use in the classroom is highly discouraged and sometimes even penalized, and that's exactly what I'm taking issue with. When I get in front of the school board, I'm going to bring up 3 points that I'm also going to tell you guys about why cell phones should be allowed in the classroom and why it is absolutely reprehensible that a teacher confiscates a student's phone. So before we get into my 3 points, I want to illustrate, an average day in a student's life. You're sitting in physics class, right? You're really bored, so you check your texts. There's a text from your mother. Right as you're about to respond to your mom, your teacher walks by and with his big greasy hand takes your phone till the end of the day. This is fairly commonplace. It's happened to me, it's happened to most of my friends, happens all the time, and most of us don't give it a second thought. But that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about today. So my first argument against cell phone confiscation in the schools is merely based on principle. As a libertarian, I believe that it's not anybody's place to micromanage anybody else's lives. So that means that as a teacher, if your student is choosing to text and not pay attention, that's his or her fault. If they're texting and they miss the notification that there's going to be a quiz on Thursday, then they're going to fail the quiz, and that's a natural consequence of their action. So that's the first argument, and that is that, just from a libertarian standpoint, why are we trying to manage cell phone use? My second argument is that when a teacher confiscates a cell phone from a student, they're not usually taking the student's phone. That's because a good percentage of parents actually fund their student's cell phone contract and probably bought the phone, meaning that they're the legal owner of the phone. So all of a sudden, it's no longer an educator confiscating an insubordinate student's phone, it's an educator confiscating a 45-year-old man's phone. That's completely ridiculous. When you put it in those terms and you look at who really owns the device, this whole thing becomes totally ridiculous. And my third and most substantive argument is that cell phone confiscation in the schools is actually unconstitutional. Now this is an interesting argument, because in my school district, cell phone confiscation is totally legal, but it's not constitutional. The way this works is the school board in my area and the school board in most other areas across the nation have the power to pass ordinances. This means that if they say teachers can take phones, it's written into a sort of law, called an ordinance, that teachers can take phones, and that legalizes the action of taking a phone. However, what the school board likes to overlook is that an ordinance has to be in accordance with all laws above it. So that means that it first has to be in accordance with the Constitution, then it has to be in accordance with federal law, then state law, then county law, and finally it can't conflict other ordinances. Obviously, when we look at this flowchart in the context of cell phone confiscation, the ordinance doesn't even pass the first tier of our flowchart because it's unconstitutional. Because the Constitution and the Bill of Rights guarantees all citizens the right to personal property, and that property in this country can only be deprived if a police officer comes with a search warrant, or the property is otherwise collected by law enforcement as part of an investigation. And 9 times out of 10, more like 999 times out of 1,000, a cell phone is not being confiscated by a cop in the school system. So those are my 3 arguments. First, on principle, why are we trying to micromanage people? Second, you're not even taking the student's phone, you're taking another adult's phone. And finally, although it is legal, it is actually unconstitutional. So this is just one of many issues that I have with the American school system. I'm going to start a little mini-series. It'll be interrupted by other videos, but I'm going to continue the theme where I'm going to speak about things like this. I'm going to examine little legal and constitutional issues that we see every day in our school system, and I think this is going to be the best one because I'm actually going to go talk to the school board. So I'm sure I'll post updates on my adventures with the school board, might even record the meeting itself. But until then, guys, thanks so much for watching, and be on the lookout for subtle areas where your constitutional rights are violated, especially at school, because it happens all the time. We're going to talk about that more. So yeah, this has been an episode of the Talking Porcupine, and before you go, I got 2 new flags for my collection here. If you follow me on Snapchat, I'm sure you've seen these. If you don't follow me on Snapchat, you're a total scrub. I mean, you should follow me on Snapchat. And yeah, that's the video, guys. Thanks a lot. See you next time.